Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here. Welcome back to the channel. We are playing Life is Strange 2. This is episode 3. I've covered every single episode of every single game up to this point, and we'll continue to cover them. In this video, I'll show you how to draw a sketch, as well as get all 6 of the collectibles, which can be quite tricky. Now, you will have multiple opportunities to draw a sketch during this episode. The first one you can do is basically near the very beginning. You'll hop out of your tent, you will talk to your lady friend, and then you can sit down on the bench next to the dog. You'll have to look up and observe and draw, I think, a total of 6 times to get a fully detailed photo or picture. And at that point, you'll stand up and leave automatically, and you should unlock the achievement or trophy that's specifically tied to doing a sketch. Now, the first collectible of the episode is actually found right next to the log we were just sitting on for the sketch inside of the camp at the very beginning. You'll notice there's a dog sitting in front of the campfire. We have 2 options. We can either look at them or pet them. If you pet them, they will get up and then move to a second location where they will sit down and wait for you to pet them again. And if you pet them at the second location, they will then get up and move again to a third location. And then at the third location, they will basically dig, even though there's no animation for it and it looks really weird, but they will dig up a small skull of a bird, and then you can just go over and pick it up. That'll be your first out of 6.
They were headed to the lake. Weird souvenir for a weird place.
The next collectible is super easy, but technically missable. You'll come to this mandatory section where you are forced to cut up some produce, and you'll play a little mini game with the triggers in order to do that. Now, make sure you're doing it fast enough so that you can actually get to a score of 8 before the conversation ends. And then you can look into the pile and you'll notice a pen. Make sure you pick up that pen and it will add to your souvenir collection. This one was a little bit of a delayed pop for me. I had to wait about 15 seconds for it to come up.
That would be cool.
Collectible number 3 will happen upon returning to your camp. You'll have a short conversation with Finn walking back into the camp. And then once you kind of both reach up the camp, you are going to, as a objective, have to fill up some water buckets or kind of move them around. And then he's going to kind of just go off on his own and sit under this tree and carve some wood. So what you want to do is once he sits down, you want to speak to him, which will start a conversation about how he enjoys carving sticks with his knife. And then after that conversation is done, he will take about 5 to 10 seconds to keep carving his wood, and then eventually toss the wood over his shoulder. And then all you need to do is kind of go behind the tree behind him and just pick it up, and it'll add automatically to your souvenir collection.
Let's keep that souvenir from the master sculptor.
The next collectible can be found after completing your chores. You can then go down to the lake with Daniel and have a short conversation with him about skipping stones and his superpowers and whatnot, and there will be a big log you can move, or a big tree that's fallen over, in order to move to like a new area. But before you do that, you kind of want to turn around from where you spawned at the lake here, and right up along the edge and just behind a log you can find a stone, which is actually a fossil. Interact with it, pick it up, add it to your souvenir collection, and move on.
Might make for a cool souvenir.
Collectible number 5 is a little bit tricky, thanks to Dale Baldwin for helping me out with this one, but at night you will come back to the camp. There will be a little bit of a party going on, and you can talk to Finn about some important stuff, and then you can talk to Cassidy, standing at the table next to Ingrid, and this conversation tree will end up in you getting a tattoo, and then Cassidy asking you to meet her by the lake. But instead of going to the lake, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the campfire, and then we want to have a short conversation with Ingrid. And Ingrid will basically let us know that she's going to be throwing out a bunch of stuff, and if I want any of the stuff, we can just go over and take it. So before going to Cassidy at the lake, make sure you go to Ingrid's tent, and just in front of it, you should be able to see a small little like llama souvenir, I think it is, and you can pick that up.
And you can take a look if you want anything.
Thanks, Sam. Still miss my play box.
Jeez. Cassidy, better take it before it ends up in the trash.
Last but not least, we have collectible number 6, thanks to Damien666777 for providing some of the information used. I have to do a little bit of a minor spoiler warning here, because there is a branching path, and the way this collectible is earned is very different based on which path you choose. So the path you see on my screen is I decided to do the heist with Finn and Daniel, and then we are going to break into the fence. However, if you go to the lake with Cassidy, and you decide not to do the break-in happens anyways, but instead of coming here with the plan, you kind of show up here late and the gate is already open. Nonetheless, you'll come to this section where there's like 3 trucks in the middle and a giant gate. That gate will be opened, and then you'll have to check the doors of the cars in order to see that they are all locked. Once you realize that they're all locked, you now can search through this small area and look for items, look for ways to get into the car, sabotage things, pick up whatever you need. And at this point, you should now be able to get the collectible. Now, if you are like in my playthrough with Daniel, what you'll do is you'll go up to the locker just behind the pickup truck, interact with the locker, and ask Daniel to open it for you, and then go inside, and, you know, I'll pick up in a second. But if you are here with Cassidy, what you need to do, I believe, I haven't done it myself, but this is just from talking to someone, is you can find a tool on one of the workbenches, and then you can take that tool over to the locker and break in to the locker as Sean, and then once inside the locker, you can scrummage through a ton of stuff. You can get duct tape, a hammer, and whatnot in order to help you, I believe, sabotage the cars. But the item we are most interested in terms of collectibles is on the top shelf, and it is labeled as a cartridge in the game. So you can look at it, it'll say cartridge, and then you can actually, you know, take one. And that should be all your achievements or trophies. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like if this video was helpful. I sure hope it was. Share the video with a friend. Special thank you to everyone for supporting the show on Patreon. Shout out to Double O, and hopefully I see you guys soon. Peace.